and you can drag region onto color, and now we can see our different regions, and we see a lot of reds here, and it's quick to see what region things belong in. Also, you can click to highlight and you can see all of the Americas highlighted in context. The next visualization we're going to make is going to be showing how much countries spend on healthcare as a part of their GDP. So we're going to rename it to be GDP on healthcare. And we're going to look at each of our countries. And we're going to make a bar chart that shows the health expense GDP. And we're going to change this to average. And we're also going to show the health expense per capita. Over here it shows how much is spent per person on health. And this is showing how much is spent on health based on GDP. Click at the top and click sort, and it's sorting by this first one. And you can see which countries spend the most of their GDP on health. We can again bring region onto color so we can see the different regions highlighted. And let's bring on labels. So for our different marks cards, we're going to want to control click this and drag it onto the labels. And we can see that it's a percentage, but it's coming up as a number, so we can right click and click format right there. And we're going to change the number to percentage. Maybe just do 1 decimal place. And then for this one, we're going to control and drag that onto labels. And maybe we'll change this one to currency. However, if you don't want to change it to currency, since we aren't sure necessarily what currency this data set is in, it's worth checking out what currency it is in. So for now, we'll just have it as a number. And now we're going to customize our tooltip. So we're going to go to the overall marks card, and we'll click on tooltip, and we want it to tell us the country in the top. So we'll erase region, and we're going to erase country label and center country. And then we're going to put this country spends this percentage on healthcare. And if you want to preview it, you can hover or click here on preview, and it will show you an example. Marshall Islands spends 2.1% on healthcare. We'll hit enter, and then when we hover, it tells you the country, and it has our custom tooltip on both visualizations, or on both of the different axes. So let's build our dashboard. We'll bring on our map. We'll bring on our healthcare visualization and our GDP versus GDP per capita. And we'll move our legends to the top again by adding a horizontal container to the top and bringing them up here. One thing we can do also is to give this more space. we can have it go all the way to the top, and these legends are just side by side, just above the map and the GDP per capita scatter type plot. An interesting thing you can do in Tableau is you can see this outlier of the United States is making it difficult to see the rest of the information or to visualize if there's any trend there. So you could right click on it and click exclude, and then it will exclude it from your data set very quickly. And then you'll just click this back button to get it back. Great, now let's take a look at filters. We are going to do a single filter. So let's go to this visualization and we'll bring on country. We'll click use all. Okay. And we're going to apply it to worksheets. So I showed you how we can apply it to worksheets here. You can also apply it to worksheets once it's on the dashboard. So if we come here and look at filters, we can see that country is on the filters for this visualization. But if we come down here and look at filters, we still see country because it's in the details of the information. So either way, when we add country, since I added it from this visualization, it only affects this visualization. Okay, but we want it to affect all on the worksheet. So we're going to apply to worksheets, and we can click selected worksheets, and we can click all on dashboard. Okay, let's bring this over here. We're going to allow them to see all at once and be able to scroll and select the ones they want. And now, when we select different ones, it affects all 3 worksheets. We're also going to add an action for a URL action. Add action, go to URL, and when we click on a country on the overall GDP map, we want it to take us to the Wikipedia page that talks about the economy for that country. So that is this URL, and it's going to say Wikipedia for economy of, and we're going to add our country to the end. So we hit OK. We have it running on menu, so let's change it to run on select. And as soon as you click it, it will take you there. Okay, so now let's try it. And we can click on Canada, and it will take us to the Wikipedia page for the economy of Canada. Great. We click on Brazil, same thing. So if we unselect on Brazil, then it will make our map highlighted normally again. We can also use this one to filter the other visualizations. And so we could click use this filter here, and then when we click on France, it will filter these 2 other visualizations to France. You can see that when we filter this visualization to a particular country, so if we look at Germany, Germany wasn't green before on our map, but now it is. That happens because our scale has changed just for the ones selected. So if we control click France and Germany and Switzerland and Austria, we now have a scale that reflects only these countries, and the biggest is going to be the darkest green, or the highest GDP is the darkest green, and the lowest is the lightest pink. And there is our economy dashboard. You can see that we have some nulls on these visualizations. That occurs when we don't have all of the data for every point. You can ignore those and they won't show up on the final visualization when you publish it to server. Or you can deal with those by clicking on them and filtering that data out, or showing that data at the default position, which is showing the null values at 0. Our final dashboard is going to be about the ease of doing business in a country. So our first visualization is going to be a bar chart, which we will call days to start business. So how many days it takes to start a business is important to know when you're trying to start a business in a country, and also can be an indicator of how easy it will be to do business in that country. So let's make a bar chart that includes every country, And then we're going to bring on days to start a business. And we will sort it smallest to biggest. And we have some days or some countries that don't have any days. So let's filter out those countries. And we're going to filter it to only those that have a good market. We're going to make a calculated field. We're going to define business-friendly market. Well, we're going to define our market based on how easy it is to start a business and how many days it takes. So if it takes less than 25 days to start a business, we'll consider that a good market. And so we're going to do if the days to start a business is less than or equal to 25, then else if days to start a business is greater than 25, then business might or might not work. Doing less than or equal to 25 or greater than 25 allows us to be able to define these two different markets. So we'll hit apply there. And we're going to filter it just to a good market. And we're going to look at just 1 year. We'll look at 2012, our most recent year. And we're going to color it based on region. And we can see which regions tend to have the shorter days to start a business. And we're going to move on and build our next visualization, which is also a bar chart, which we will call ease of business. So we have this ease of business field, and we can bring on the country and we can bring on ease of business. And we want to make it a measure. So ease of business is at this point looking at it like it's a string, and we can change that in our default properties and convert it to a measure, or use it up here and change it to a measure. When we try to change it to a measure here, it wants to treat it like a string, so it wants to take the minimum or the maximum. But if we here convert it to a measure, then it also automatically made it a count. So the first thing to do would be to change the data type to a number. And now we can change it to a measure and aggregate it. So we could do like the sum of ease of business. In our use case, we're actually going to do the average of ease of business, and then we want to have the smallest on the top. We do have some that don't have ease of business ratings, so we're going to filter that data out. And again, we want the year to be 2012, but how we're going to do that is by coming to this visualization and by applying this particular year of 2012. So we'll do it on select workbooks and select ease of business. Okay. And now this one also has the year of 2012 there. And we're going to segment this by creating another header. We're going to call that business friendly. And we're going to say that if the ease of business is, so I guess this is a nice thing to know. So if we start typing in what we want to see, then we can select it from a list here. But you can also interact outside of this box. So you could just grab ease of business and drag it into the dialog box here. And that's really nice. So we're going to say if it is greater than or equal to 1 and less than or equal to 3, then we're going to say it has the most business friendly regulations. Give us a little more room to look at. Okay, and this statement won't work because it's saying and what is less than or equal to 3. So you have to have ease of business in both places. And then this should say then, and not the. Great. So now we're just getting an error because we don't have an end. So, if that's all we wanted to do, then that's what we would do, but then we'll just do another else if. And it's already taken, this if statement goes through one condition at a time. So it's already classified everything that's between these two numbers. And so now we can just say if ease of business is less than or equal to 10, then we'll call it very, very business friendly regulations. And we'll keep going. Else if ease of business is less than or equal to 50, then we're going to call it moderate. And we're just going to say moderate business regulations. Copy that for later use. Less than or equal to 150, then strict. So the reason that this doesn't grab everything that is less than or equal to 150 is because these sections 1 to 3, and then 4 to 10, and then 11 to 50 have all been classified up to this point. So it's just getting everything else. And we're going to finally say else everything else is going to be called not preferred for business. And see if we get any errors. Calculation is valid. Let's see if this works as we expect. So we'll hit apply, and we'll bring business friendly onto our rows. And now it categorizes everything based on what we said. So we want to define what order these go in. So we're going to click sort, and we want the most business friendly at the top. Then we want moderate, then strict, then not preferred. Okay. So we have our top 3 that are the most business friendly, and then we've got 4 through 10, which are very, then we've got our moderate, our strict, and our not preferred. So let's bring region again onto color, and we can see which regions are the most business friendly. And we have our year of 2012 there. And now we're going to make this even more useful by adding the business tax rate onto the label so that you can see that business friendly is like Singapore, but they have a pretty high tax rate of 27, whereas if you get down to some of these that are not preferred, some of them have really low tax rates. So let's make sure that we're getting the right tax rate. So you can see that 27 is definitely not the highest tax rate that we have for business. But you can also see that there are places that have even lower tax rates, like Saudi Arabia, and we have 8% here. It looks like we don't ever go to that second decimal place. So let's quickly format this. Oh. business tax rate is also text. So if we could convert our data type to decimal, and then we will format it to be a percentage, and we just need the 1 decimal place. Okay, now let's make some annotations. So we could come and click here on this mark, and then we can annotate that mark, which will make this dialog box, and it's already filled in here. And so we could use some of this information. So I'm going to copy that, and I'll put some hard returns there. So we're going to say that this country is the most business friendly, but has a business tax rate of, and let's grab the tax rate. And then we'll erase this. And we'll hit OK. And I made a typo. So Singapore is the most business friend is not what I meant to say. So I can click edit, business friendly, but has a tax rate of. And you can move this around. Draws the line to Singapore, which is the mark that we wanted to annotate. So that is an annotation on a mark. If we wanted to just make an annotation for the area, then we could point out that more business-friendly countries often have high business taxes. We could change that size, make everything fit. Now we have this second note where our user can come in and see some more information about what's being presented here. Great. And now we're going to make one more visualization, and it's going to be about phone and internet usage, because you may want to know about the phone and internet trends when you're looking to start a business. So we're going to do this one over time. So it does not need to have that year filter on it. And we're doing our axis. And we're going to look at mobile phone usage. So I double clicked it, it shows mobile phone usage over time. And we're going to change it to average so that it's averaging it across the countries. And then we're going to bring on internet usage. So we'll bring it on side by side, so we have two visualizations. And we're going to also make that average. Now, we might not want these to share an axis because they are measured a little bit differently. And so we can make it a dual axis, but allow them to keep their independent axes. Or you can synchronize the axes and see them at their rates. However, the usage is just a little bit of a different measurement. We can have one of them be a bar chart and the other one be a line. Let's have this one be the bar chart. Okay, and then the line is in the front. You can also change which one's in the front by coming and clicking on the axis itself. And you can click Move Marks to Front, and that moves that one to the front. Okay, and now it's made each of these wide, and there's like a start point and an end point on the axis for the bar, and that comes here under Size, where they're all fixed. Or you could have it be manual, where we can define the size of the bars. So we're going to make those bars like this. And we can see them going up over time. We can also change the width of the line itself. Make it thicker or thinner. And we can change the colors here. So let's change it to orange, since red might imply that it's bad in some cultures. And now we can see our internet usage and our phone usage over time and how it's trending. And so this will all come together on our new dashboard, which is about ease of business. You can see that I have a sheet called Ease of Business and a dashboard that I've called Ease of Business, but it won't let you create a dashboard with the same name as your worksheet. So, Ease of Business dashboard. Let's have it fit the screen. And we're going to bring on our Days to Start Business visual, our Ease of Business visual, and our phone and internet visual. Let's put our legends at the top again. So we'll make our horizontal container, and we'll bring our region legend into there, and then our measure names for internet versus mobile phone. And we have a filter that already is pre-applied to two of the visualizations called Year of Year. And it's selected 2012, and if we select 2011, it's only changing this one, it's filtering out all the information for this visualization and changing this one to 2011. So let's see why that's happening. If we go to this visualization and click the Go to Sheet, we can see year of 2012 is here. Let's click Show Filter. And if we change the filter to 2011, okay, it's not showing up here, and the only filter I can see that could be removing it is this average ease of business. That is removing anything that is null. So if I pull that off, you can see that we don't seem to have any information for 2011 for ease of business. And the more years I select, I'm not seeing any ease of business information. So we're going to want to set this to 2012 only, because that seems to be the only information that is useful for this visualization. So let's go back until we're back to the state we were in when we started. Okay, so here we are. Now we're going to want to remove this filter, and we're going to give it its own filter that only selects 2012. That is not connected to the other filter. So now, when we change year of year, it only changes this visualization. Sometimes that's useful to note, sometimes it's useful to put, let's do a single value drop down. Sometimes it's useful to put this right next to the visualization it affects. So if we could change it to floating and just put it like here, that makes it clear that it's just changing this chart so that people don't get confused. Another thing that we can do, that we should do on all of our visualizations, is change the titles so that they're more business or user friendly. Great. And so we have our filter, and let's use this as a filter, and that way we can click on New Zealand, and we can see its most business-friendly regulations, and we can see its internet and phone usage over time. We can click on a lot of different countries to see those changes. You can see that some countries have a steeper change, so some of them have adopted phone and internet usage and have stayed pretty similar, whereas other ones have only really adopted it in the last couple of years. Also, if we wanted to filter to just one country, we could do what we did before and create a country filter. Here's another way to go to the sheet. You can click this down arrow and click Go to Sheet, or you can come over here. You can see that it's highlighting a visualization over here, or a sheet, and whatever sheet I click on is highlighted over here. And there's this little pop-out arrow here that also takes you to the sheet. And we can bring country on, use them all, go back to our dashboard, We'll go to filters and select country. We'll make it a multiple value dropdown. We're going to add the apply button, and now we're going to make it apply to all the visualizations by clicking apply to workbooks, selected worksheets, all on dashboard, OK. Now we can see that if we just want to look at Afghanistan, OK, we can see how many days it takes to start a business there. It's not preferred for business, and it's internet and phone usage over time. And those are our 4 dashboards. So as a review, we have made a dashboard on population. We made one about health. We made one that had to do with our economy, and one that had to do with our ease of doing business.
Business intelligence is a set of processes and techniques to analyze raw data and extract information that helps drive business decisions. It helps you keep track of business data and draw valuable insights. There are several tools that play a key role in business intelligence. Some of the popular tools are Power BI, Tableau, and ClickView. Hi guys, welcome to this tutorial on what is Power BI. In this video, you will learn why Power BI is needed, what is Power BI, the various features of Power BI, and the different components of Power BI. Later, you will look at the architecture of Power BI, what Power BI service is, and how to create a Power BI dashboard. Finally, you will understand a case study on Meyer and do a demo using Power BI. Now let's understand why Power BI is needed. First, Power BI has the ability to access vast volumes of data from multiple sources. It allows you to view, analyze, and visualize huge quantities of data that cannot be opened in Excel. Some of the important data sources available in Power BI are Excel, CSV, XML, JSON, PDF, etc. Second, Power BI provides an easy-to-use drag-and-drop tool with features and functionalities that allow you to copy all formatting across similar visualizations. Power BI has exceptional integration with Excel. It helps you gather, analyze, publish, and share Excel business data. Power BI helps to accelerate big data preparation with Azure. Using Power BI with Azure allows you to analyze and share vast volumes of data. Azure Data Lake can reduce the time it takes to get insights and increase collaboration between business analysts, data engineers, and data scientists. Power BI allows you to get insights from data and turn insights into actions to take data-driven business decisions. Finally, Power BI allows you to perform real-time stream analytics. It fetches data from multiple sensors and social media sources to get access to real-time analytics, so you are always ready to make business decisions. Now let's see what Power BI is. Power BI is a business analytics service provided by Microsoft that lets you visualize your data and share insights. It converts data from different sources to build interactive dashboards and BI reports. As you can see, we have an Excel data about sales. Using this data, Power BI helps you build different charts and graphs to visualize the data. Now that we have understood what Power BI is, let us look at the important features of Power BI. First is Power BI Desktop. Power BI Desktop is a free software that you can download, and it allows you to build reports by accessing data easily. For using Power BI Desktop, you do not need advanced report designing or query skills to build a report. Second, as already discussed, Power BI supports stream analytics. From factory sensors to social media sources, Power BI assists in real-time analytics to make timely decisions. Third, support for multiple data sources is one of the major features of Power BI. You can access various sources of data such as Excel, CSV, SQL Server, web files, etc. to create interactive visualizations. And finally, custom visualization. Custom visualization is another vital feature of Power BI. While dealing with complex data, Power BI's default standard might not be enough in some cases. In that case, you can access the custom library of visualization that meets your needs. Let us jump into discussing the various components of Power BI. As you can see, there are 6 major components of Power BI. Now let's discuss them one by one. First is Power Query. Power Query is the data transformation and mashup engine. It enables you to discover, connect, combine, and refine data sources to meet your analysis need. It can be downloaded as an add-in for Excel or can be used as part of Power BI Desktop. Second, we have Power Pivot. Power Pivot is a data modeling technology that lets you create data models. It also allows you to establish relationships and create calculations. It uses data analysis expression language or DAX to model simple and complex data. Third, we have Power View. Power View is a technology that is available in Excel, SharePoint, SQL Server, and Power BI. It lets you create interactive charts, graphs, maps, and other visuals that brings your data to life. Next, We have Power Map. Microsoft's Power Map for Excel and Power BI is a 3D data visualization tool that lets you map your data and plot more than 1 million rows of data visually on Bing Maps in 3D format from an Excel table or data model in Excel. Then we have Power BI Desktop. Power BI Desktop is a development tool for Power Query, Power Pivot, and Power View. With Power BI Desktop, you have everything under the same solution, and it is easier to develop BI and data analysis experience. Finally, we have Power Q&A. The Q&A feature in Power BI lets you explore your data in your own words. It is the fastest way to get an answer from your data using natural language. An example could be, what was the total sales last year? Once you have built your data model and deployed that into Power BI website, then you can ask questions and get answers easily. Now, let's see what Power BI Service is. Power BI Service is the software as a service part of Power BI. It is also referred as Power BI Online. To access Power BI Service, you need to log into app.powerbi.com. Now let me show you that. I'll go to Google, I'll open a new tab and search for app.powerbi.com. It's loading. But this is how the homepage of Power BI Service looks like. I've created some dashboards on it. First, you need to log into app.powerbi service. You can see I'm logged in. Now under my workspace, if I go to dashboard, here I've created a finance dashboard. You can see the different charts and graphs I have prepared and pinned it to the dashboard. So Power BI Service allows you to connect to your data, create reports and dashboards, and you can also ask questions to your data. Now as you can see in this dashboard, we have created some charts and graphs. So this is a tree map. There's a pie chart, there's a bar graph. Below you can see there are line charts and donut charts. It tells you the total sales that were made, the total number of units sold, the sales by product, sales by country, sales by segment, and lots more. One of the key features of Power BI is creating dashboards from multiple reports and datasets. Power BI Dashboard is a single-page visualization to tell a story. The visualizations on a dashboard are generated from multiple reports, and each report is based on one dataset. A single-page dashboard is known as a canvas. The visualizations you see on the dashboard are called tiles. These tiles are pinned to the dashboard by report designers. Now let me go back to my dashboard. So this is called a canvas, and each of these are called tiles. So on the top, you can see we have 3 tiles. Now let's understand how to create and publish reports in Power BI dashboards. Power BI allows you to create different reports on Power BI Desktop. These reports can be published on the Power BI dashboard using Power BI Service. Here, you can see there is a Power BI report created on Power BI Desktop. If you click on Publish, it will take you to the Power BI Service where you can build a dashboard. Here is the button for Power BI Publish. Once you click on Power BI Publish, it will take you to the dashboard. So this is a single page Power BI dashboard on Power BI Service. Now, let's understand the Power BI architecture. Power BI architecture is a service built on top of Azure. There are multiple data sources that Power BI can connect to. Power BI Desktop allows you to create reports and data visualizations on the dataset. Power BI Gateway is connected to on-premise data sources to get continuous data for reporting and analytics. Power BI services are basically the cloud services that are used to publish Power BI reports and data visualizations. Using Power BI mobile apps, you can stay connected to their data from anywhere. Power BI apps are available for Windows, iOS, and Android platforms. Now, let's look at a case study on how Meijer, which is one of United States' largest supermarket chains, used Power BI to solve its business problems. Initially, Meijer had become dependent on its IT organization to extract insights from its data. It was time-consuming and inefficient as you had to wait for IT to build every report. Meijer was unable to perform ad hoc and real-time analysis easily. So what Meijer did was, it connected Power BI to an on-premises SQL Server Analysis Services cube. This allowed them to refresh 20 billion rows of data in near real time. With Power BI, teams can now pull in the data faster and perform real-time analysis to derive insights from data. A bakery department inside Meijer used Power BI to compare its sales with regional performance. They analyzed where Meijer was behind the regional trends, focused on the problem, and created a solution. With Power BI, they can now drill down into hourly sales and send out a sales flash to 800 Meijer business leaders. So Power BI enabled them to standardize data sources and empower store directors and team leaders to develop and track their data to ensure what they can improve. Now, let's do some practical hands-on demo with Power BI. So this is how the Power BI desktop interface looks like. On the left, you have the report view, the data view, and the model view. The report view is where you visualize your data with different charts and graphs to build reports. The data view allows you to view the whole data, while the model view is where you check if there are any relationship between the tables. On the right, you can see the different visualizations that you can build. We'll quickly run through all of these in our demo. So here you can see there's a finance sample data that will help you draw insights about the sale of products in different countries. We will create a report to visualize different charts and graphs and analyze those sales. So let me go to my Power BI desktop. First, we'll import our data. So let me go to our Get Data tab and choose Excel as my data source. I click on Excel. So here is our finance sample data. We'll select sheet 1. You can see the data here. Click on it and then select Load. This might take some time to load the data. Now if I go to my Data tab, you can see the entire data set. It has fields such as segment, country in which the sales was made, the name of the product, the units sold, and the sales price, and many more. Let's start building our report now. I'll go to my report view. So first let me create a text box. Let me resize it. Let me name it as Finance Dashboard. We'll increase the size of the text. We'll use font Consolas, center it. We'll also add a background to this. We use blue color, change it to white, and increase the size. Now, let me first show you how you can create a matrix. I'll go to Visualizations and click on Matrix. Let me resize it. From the Datasheet tab, I'll select Sales and drag onto Values. So you can see the total number of sales that were made. Now, let me do some formatting. So I'll go to the Format tab, click on Column Headers. Let's add a background color and let me increase the text size to 20. Similarly, under Values, we'll increase the size of the text to 20 as well. We can also click on Border and choose the color of the border. May it take as, let it be black. So this is a simple matrix that we created which shows the total number of sales that were made. Similarly, let me choose matrix once again. Now we'll drag on the units sold onto values. We'll continue with the same drill. Under column headers, we'll add a background. This time let's choose some other color, and under values, let's increase the size of the text to 20. Even for the column headers, let's increase the size of the text to 20. Again, we'll switch on border. Let me resize a bit. So here we have two matrices created for our report. The first matrix shows us the total sales that were made. The second matrix shows you the total units that were sold. Now let's move ahead and create a simple bar chart. So under visualization, I click on clustered column chart. Under this, we'll drag the date column onto axis and the sales onto value. Let me expand it. So it shows you the sales by year. This is the sales that were made in 2013 and this shows you the sales that were made in 2014. Now there's a drill down option which gives you more granularity. This depicts the sales by quarter. If I drill down further, you can see this shows you the sales by month. Also, you have some options like sort by and sort by sales. So you can see October month made the highest number of sales. Moving ahead, let me now create a pie chart where we will see the sales by different segments. Under visualization, I'll click on pie chart. Let me first resize it. Here, I'll drag the segment column onto the legend and the sales column onto the values. As you can see, we have the sales made by different segments. Government segment made the highest number of sales with 44.22%. Now let me add a border to both the visualization. I'll click on the pie chart and go to the Format tab. I'll switch on the border. Similarly, for the clustered column chart, I'll go to the Format tab and click on Border. Now let me resize a bit. Alright. Next, we'll create a very simple table that will depict the total sales made by each product. So under Visualizations, I click on Table. Let me bring this below. So from the data sheet, I'll first drag product onto values. You can see the different products and then sales just below it. So this depicts the total sales that were made by each product. And finally, it displays the total value of the sales that were made. This is same as the one shown here. Now let's do some formatting. Under Format tab, I'll go to Values and increase the text size to 15. Let me expand it. Also, under Column Headers, I'll increase the text size to 15. Then, let me go and add a border. Now let me create a map that will show you the sales that were made by each country. So first, let me create a new page, and under Visualization, I'll click on Map. Now, I'll drag the country column onto Location. So you can see we have our map ready, and we'll drag Sales onto Size. You can see the different countries and the sales that they made. If I move the map, you can see the sales made in the Europe region. Let me resize it. I'll add a border to this. Now let me go ahead and create a donut chart that will show you the profit by each segment. Under Visualizations, I'll click on Donut Chart. I'll move this to the top. Now, from the datasheet, I'll add profit onto the values and segment onto the legend. If I expand this, you can see government segment made the highest amount of profit with 65.04%. Let me resize this and we'll add a border. Okay, in the final visualization, I'll show you how to create a tree map. This tree map will tell you the total amount of sales made by each product. So under Visualizations, I'll click on the tree map. Let me expand it. I'll drag sales onto values and product onto group. So here you can see our tree map and the sales made by each product. You can see now we have our report ready. We have created two separate canvases to visualize our data. Now, if you want to change the color of these bars, you can simply go to the Format tab, and under Data Colors, you can choose whichever color you want. In Power BI Desktop, you have an option to switch your theme. This will make your dashboard or the report look more attractive. So now we are under the default mode. Let's try out different themes. That's Frontier, it's Temperature, Solar, which is a little yellowish. The one which I like is Tidal. I hope this was helpful in making you understand the basics of Power BI and how it works. You learned the various features and the components of Power BI and looked at the architecture of Power BI. Finally, you saw a demo to create a report using Finance Dataset. In our previous video on what is Power BI, we had learned the basics of Power BI, its features and components, the architecture of Power BI, followed by a demo. In this video, we will learn what Power BI Dashboard is, we'll understand how to create different reports in Power BI Desktop, then you'll publish a dashboard onto Power BI Service, and finally, you'll derive insights from the dashboard. Now, let's understand what Power BI Dashboard is. Power BI Dashboard is a single-page visualization to tell a story. Here on the screen you can see there's a dashboard which has been published on Power BI Service. There are multiple charts and graphs that you can see. The visualizations on a dashboard are generated from reports, and each report is based on one dataset. A single-page dashboard is known as a canvas. The visualizations you see on the dashboard are called tiles, and each of these tiles are pinned to the dashboard by report designers. Today, we'll be covering the following dashboard that you see on the screen. It will be a 3-page report where we will be analyzing the Superstore sample data. As you can see, there are 3 tabs. Now let me move over to our dataset. So our Superstore sample dataset is in the form of an Excel file. You can see there are multiple columns. You can see there's order date, shipment date, the mode of shipment, customer's first name and last name, the segment to which the customer belonged to, country of the customer, the city, state, and if you go towards the end, you can see there are the different product names, the sales, quantity sold, discount, and the profit. So the report that you see here and the one which we are going to create might vary a little in terms of the color formatting and the spacing, so you need not worry about that. Now let me go ahead and bring up a new workspace. So I'll go to File, click on New. This will take some time to bring up our new workspace. Now it will ask you for trying the free version, or if you want you can go ahead and sign in. I'll just close this. So here is our new workspace. Before creating the dashboard, we need to make some changes to our Superstore dataset. Using the features of Power BI Desktop, first we'll extract the year, month and quarter values from the order date column. I'll go to Get Data tab, click on Excel as my source. I'll locate my file, it's on desktop, click on Open. This might take some time to load the dataset. I'll select the orders sheet. You can see the preview of our data here. I'll go ahead and click on Load. This will take some time to load the dataset onto Power BI Desktop. I think we have successfully loaded our dataset. You can check that by going to the data tab. So here is our data set. First, let's make some changes in the format of the order date and the shipment date. I'll click on the order date. Under the modeling tab, we have this data type and the format. I'll click on the drill down option. Under date and time, now let's choose the first one, which is in the format of DDMMYYYY. I'll click on it. As you can see, our order date column has been changed to that particular format. Similarly, I'll select the ship date column, go to the format option. Under date and time, I'll click on the first one. Here you can see even the ship date column has been changed to that particular format. Now let's extract the month values from the order date column. To do that, right click on the order date column, select new column. So this will create a new column if you go to the end. So there's a new column. Rename this column as month, and since we want the month value from the order date column, I'll search for order date. Since I want the month, I'll select month. Now if I hit enter, it will give me the month values from the order date column. Similarly, if you want to get the quarter values from the order date, right click, select new column, rename the column as quarter, then choose the order date column followed by the quarter name. Hit enter. So you can see you have a quarter column and it has all the values of the quarter to which the date belongs to. Now let me go ahead and create one more column. This time we'll create a new column for the order year. This time we'll extract the order year values. So let me rename it as year. We'll continue with the same procedure. I'll look for the order date and then select the year. Hit enter. So it gives you only the year values on which the order was placed. Now let's find which day of the week was the order placed. So we need to use the weekday function and give the order date as parameter, followed by which day you want the week to start with. I'll show you how to do that. So I'll click on order date, then select new column. Let's rename this column as day of week. I'll use the weekday function of Power BI. You can hit tab to finish. I'll look for my order date column, comma. I'll choose 2 here since I want my week to start with Monday and end on a Sunday. Hit enter. So you can see we have the day of the week column. So the idea to create this day of week column is to find out if the order was placed on a weekday or a weekend. Now let me go ahead and create one more new column. Let's name this column as weekday or a weekend. I'll use an if clause and pass in my parameters. For logical test, I'll use the day of the week column. So I'll search for orders and then look for day of week. If this day of the week is equal to 6, which means if it's a Saturday, or I'm using the or operator, if the day of week is a Sunday, that is 7, then it's a weekend, else it's a weekday. I'll close the bracket, hit enter. So you can see we have our weekday and weekend column. So moving ahead, another thing we can do is we can find the total number of days it took for the shipment of the product. This can be done using the dateDiff function of Power BI. So let me show you how you can do that. I'll click on any column, right click, go to new column. Let's rename the column as days for shipment. Then I'll use the dateDiff function. I'll give my starting date, which is the order date. So I'll search for order date, followed by the second date will be our shipment date, which is ship date, and the day. I'll hit enter. So you can see here it gives us the total number of days it took for the shipment of the product. Now let's create a full name column where we will concatenate the first name and the last name of the customer. Let me go ahead and do that. I'll create a new column. Let me rename the column as full name. Then I'll take the first name from the orders table, use the ampersand, followed by a space using inverted commas, followed by another ampersand and the last name. I hit enter. You can see we have a full name column. If you go back, so there were two columns in the name of first name and last name. Now we have merged both the columns into a single column named full name, and you can see the first name, space and the last name. Now let me give the sales column a currency value. So I'll select the sales column. Here under general, if I go to currency, I can see there are multiple currency symbols. Choose whatever you want. For this video, I'll take dollar English United States. You can see our sales column is now represented by a dollar value. Similarly, let me make some changes to the profit column. As you can see, there are multiple decimal values for each profit. So let's standardize it. So I'll select the profit column, and this is where you can standardize it. Now it's auto. So let me make it 2 decimal places. So our data is ready now. Let's go to the report view and start building our reports. Before that, under the model view, you can see the new columns that we had created. You can see there's weekday, weekend, there's year, there's quarter column, month column. The same you can see under the report view as well. Under fields, you can see these are the columns that we created: days of shipment, day of week, quarter, month, weekday or weekend, and year. Now we are under the report view. First, let me go ahead and create a text box. So under the home tab, you have the text box. I'll select that. Let me stretch it a bit. We'll give a title, Sales Dashboard. I'll select this and increase the size to, let's say, 28. We'll make it bold and center align it. Also, under the visualizations tab, under background, we'll add a background color to this text box. Let me select this blue color and let me make the font as white. So now we have our title ready. So under general, you can decrease the height of the text box. Let me make it as 70. First, let us create a new card from the visualizations panel. So under visualizations, there is an option to create new card. I'll click on it. Let me resize. I'll move it to the top. We'll see the total amount of sales or the total revenue that was generated from the sales. After selecting the card, I'll choose Sales onto Fields. So here you can see it gives you the total sales that were made, so which is nearly $2.3 million. If I go to the Format tab under Data Label, let me switch on the border. Under Title, you can give a new title, for example, Total Revenue. Hit enter. Now you can increase the text size to say 15 and center line it. You can also change the color of the sales value. So under Data Label, under Colors, you can choose whichever color you want. Similarly, let's create one more card to find the total number of units that were sold. I'll copy the same card, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. I'll move it a little below. Now I'll remove the sales column from the fields and add the quantity column onto fields. Again, under title, I'll edit this title as Total Quantity Sold. Let me create one more card where we will see the total amount of profit that were made. I'll select this. I'll remove the quantity column and add profit. Under the Format tab, under Title, I'll make this as total profit. Hit enter. Stretch it a bit so that you can see the total amount of profit that were made.